the erudite young scholar of Indian poetics in particular and rasa theory in general. Yes. So we have Professor Anil Pratap Giri sir. He is professor of Sanskrit and he is also warden in Allahabad University, Allahabad. Before joining Allahabad University, sir was associate professor in Department of Sanskrit in MGCOB. This is our proud privilege that yesterday, due to some another assignment in our university, he has come to Motihari. So we welcome you, sir, on behalf of Department of English. We welcome you, Professor Anil Pratap Giri, sir, on behalf of Department of English and the Harmony, the English Literary Society that we are running for last 5 years. We welcome Professor Rajendra Singh, sir, who is professor in Department of Sanskrit and he is an authority on folk literature, especially Haryanvi literature. Sir, welcome to this special lecture. And above all, I welcome and I express my gratitude to Dr. Bablu Bagh sir. For him, I would like to say, he is a man who wants to connect his scholars and academicians, and due to him, I was able to be connected yesterday and today with Professor Anil Pratap Giri sir. So a special thanks to Dr. Bablu sir for this kind of opportunity. Yes. So before we begin the session, I would request Professor Anil Pratap Giri sir, please come on dais and please accept our expression of heart that is too small to state the feeling that we have for you, sir. नेहा, अरे तुम आओ तो. I invite Neha Mukta from Postmaster, and we know about the magical compilation of the program that we have displayed during international conference. So please welcome Neha Mukta. इधर ही आते हैं. इधर आइए.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you all to this special lecture organized by Harmony, the Literary Society of the Department of English, Mahatma Gandhi Central University. Today we gather to explore rasa theory, one of the most profound and influential concepts in Indian aesthetics, which continues to shape literary and artistic expression across cultures. We are honored to have with us Professor Anil Pratap Giri, a distinguished professor from the Department of Sanskrit, University of Allahabad, with his extensive expertise in Sanskrit poetics and literary theory. We look forward to an enlightening session that will deepen our understanding of how emotions, aesthetics, and artistic experience intertwine in literature and performance. Now, I would like to call Anil Giri sir to address this session with a special lecture on Rasa theory. Sir, please.
ये चलेगा पीपीटी चाहता तो वो हो जाएगा इसको करो गाइड पीपीटी होगा चेक पीपीटी है सर
लिंक क्रिएट करके देखता हूँ।
थैंक यू सो मच I would like to start my presentation with invocation because this is my tradition and I follow the tradition because I have been trained like that. मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत् कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम् अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नमः सभायै सभापतिभ्यश्च नमो नमः। Respected Professor and former Dean, School of Humanities and Languages, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Motihari, Bihar, Professor Rajendra Singh sir, a distinguished professor of Hindi across the India, particularly in the field of Haryanavi Lok Natya and Haryanavi culture. Respected Dr. Bivlesh Kumar Singh sir, a distinguished and well-renowned scholar of English, head of the department of English, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Motihari, Bihar. My friend, guide and philosopher, Dr. Bablu Palji, Assistant Professor, Department of Sanskrit, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Motihari, Bihar. My beloved research scholars, students, my heartiest pranam to one and all. Friends, I think that I have come back to my home. I joined with the Dr. Bivlesh Kumar Singh in 2019 as associate professor. At almost 3 years I served. I learned a lot from this place, from these surroundings, from this university as well. I would like to learn young number of time to visit my parental university and department, my former colleagues as well. Friends, topic of my today's lecture is Rasa theory. It is very much peculiar to know. If you want to know Indian knowledge systems, my submission is that without the knowledge of Saundarya Shastra, Indian aesthetics, Indian knowledge systems cannot be known properly. So, what is the Shastriya discourse inherent in Indian aesthetics that we have to know? So, the topic is Rasa theory. Before going into the deep of this topic, This is my also one submission to across the academic fraternity of Indology. They should reveal the Rasa theory as a separate discipline of knowledge. Because in our tradition, Rasa theory was treated as a separate discipline. The name of that discipline was Rasa Shastra. Shastra means science of knowledge. Rasa Shastra means the science of knowledge of Rasa. So it has to be treated as separate discipline. Join point.
Yes. सर मैं क्या वेट कर मैं कर दे रहा हूँ
Okay.
So like for the heights of
We should know each and every concept of the discipline of Rasa in Indian perspective. So Rasa as a discipline, this is my submission. Whatever I would like to represent before you, the noble things are not mine. I got this knowledge from my gurus. I am only the instrument of representing that knowledge. Whatever Laikmuna or Laikmune would be there in my presentation, that would be my individual. Whatever good things are will be there, whatever innovative things will be there, credit goes to my gurus only. So, Anil Pratap Giri is not saying, who taught me the stalwart of Sanskrit. And this is the concept of them only. I am only the instrument of representing the things before you. Rasa should be treated as a discipline. It has to be treated as an individual subject, autonomous subject. In our tradition, it was treated as a separate discipline. The name of that discipline was Rasa Shastra. Shastra means science of knowledge. And what is Rasa Shastra? Science of knowledge of aesthetic experience. Then, if it has to be treated as a separate discipline, for that, some basic components are required. Whatever basic components are there, we know Bharat Muni, who wrote Natya Shastra, a peculiar text of dramaturgy, Natya Shastra, in 2nd century AD. He says that Nai rasadrite kaschirartha pravartate. Without rasa, no meaning can be revealed. It means rasa is inherent in each and every meaning. So, rasa is very much peculiar. Without the knowledge of science of rasa, we can't grasp the concept of anything. Therefore, rasa is required for knowing the discipline of knowledge. Anything we want to grasp, it is for that rasa is required. So, if the rasa has pervaded all the disciplines of knowledge, rasa is vyapaka. It has pervaded. So the question is, what is the science of rasa? What is the structure of the rasa? On the basis we should know this is the rasa. So our Indian scholars, Indian sages, they bifurcated systematically and scientifically the components of the rasa. One is called, we should know ontology of rasa. Ontology means tattva-mimamsa. Ontology of the rasa is the peculiar structure, basic component of the discipline of the rasa. Ontology must be known. These are the innovative areas to be revealed in the present scenario. As if any scholar is there, any student is there, if they have the interest to know the Indology, to know the Indian knowledge systems, so these are the innovative areas, these are the innovative thoughts and concepts and theories we should know, and as per our own interest, we can go further doing the research so that in the systematic way, scientific way, Indian knowledge systems can be revealed entire world. And I am the instrument of like that. Best from the east and the best should be complementary to each other. What is the best thing inherent in our Indology that must be revealed so that entire academia of the world should be know that this is the India. This is the intellectual contribution, academic contribution of Indian scholars, Indian sages, Indian rishis. Second component of the rasa is epistemology. Epistemology, it means of knowing the rasa. What is the instrument of knowing the rasa? Pramana Mimamsa. In philosophical terms, he could say Pramana Mimamsa. Pramana Mimamsa of the rasa is required for treating a separate discipline of rasa. One is metaphysics. Physical entity is there, but that physical entity cannot be represented or communicated as it is into the language. That is called metaphysical entity. Something we can realize. Some truth or some inherent things are there in this cosmos. That only we can realize, but we cannot represent into the language as it is. So, metaphysical structure of the rasa should be revealed by the research scholars and academics and academic fraternity. The third one is linguistics. Linguistics plays a pivotal role to reveal the rasa, because rasa has some metaphysical kind of entity for that is required, so that we should realize the rasa as it is and we should communicate the rasa as it is in the language. For that, the linguistics is also required. It is also another component of discipline of rasa. In psychology, after realizing the rasa, which kind of physical or psychic or spiritual behaviors are changing, which kind of transformation is going on, that transformation should be known. It has to be revealed. So the psychology of rasa. आप जा रहे हैं? X 11:30 से दूसरा लेक्चर है सर, आ जाइएगा। वो भारतीय शोधक प्रविधि पर है। अगर अपने विद्यार्थी उनके लिए अच्छा होगा कि हमारे शास्त्र में शोधक प्रविधि मेथोडोलॉजी कैसे बताई गई। हमारे शास्त्र का भी अपना एक सिस्टम है, कुछ रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी जिसका शास्त्र तो मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगा सर, जो अपने हिंदी वाले विद्यार्थी को भी अच्छा लगेगा। मैं चाहता हूं कि मुक्त ज्ञान विमोचन, whatever I got sir from my gurus, it has to be shared. ठीक है, ठीक सर। So this is one kind of reason. So that Rishi now should know what is the kind of what is the nature of manas, what is the nature of buddhi, what is the nature of chitta, what is the nature of ahankara, or what is the nature of soul, consciousness. That science of mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara should be known as it is before the academy. So psychology is required to know the rasa. Then spiritual cult is spiritual practices. Without spiritual practices, without meditation practices, we can't know, we can't grasp the rasa. So spiritual cut is also required because Indian knowledge system is a spiritual centric system. So if you want to know rasa, if you want to communicate rasa, for that spiritual cult is required, meditational practices are required. So spiritual cult is also one important component of the discipline of rasa. Spiritual cult. Then aesthetic experience, rasanubhuti. Rasanubhuti, which kind of realization after rasa charavana, which kind of psychological transformation is coming, which kind of paramananda we are attaining, that should be also revealed systematically, scientifically to the entire world, so that they should know our rishis have contributed a lot. Our rishis were not only the acharya, they were scientists. That's why Shastra itself is science of knowledge. They were the scientists. So these are the basic components, and the basis of that, the discipline of rasa can be established. One is ontology of rasa, second is epistemology of rasa, third is metaphysics, fourth is linguistics, then psychology, spiritual cult, and aesthetic experience. If anybody is interested to do the further research in the field of Indian rasa or Indian Saundarya Shastra, so they can rethink on these basic components, so that the entire rasa has to be represented systematically, scientifically before the academia or before the academic fraternity. Now the question may be raised, what is the worldview of the rasa? What should this be? Because if we want to do the further research, worldview is required. So what is the worldview of the rasa? So rasa can be known like this. Our acharyas, they have defined rasa in two ways. One is Ratyadhyavachinna Bhagnavarana Chideva rasa. Ratyadhyavachinna Bhagnavarana Chideva rasa. This is the definition which is given by Pandit Raj Jagannath in 17th century AD during the Shah Jahan period. The text name is Rasa Gangadhara. It is the peculiar text of poetics, Indian poetics we can say. Ratyadya Avachinna Bhagna Varana Chideva rasa. How we can know this definition? So in English I have translated this definition. Rasa is physio, psychic, spiritual, aesthetic experience. What is the rasa? Rasa is physio, psychic, spiritual, aesthetic experience. In this level, in this way, we have to know what is the rasa. Our human body can be divided into three parts. One is the physical body, another is the psychic body, and the last one is the spiritual body. And these three bodies are having the waves that is called in Sanskrit Tanamatra. Physical body is having the physical waves, psychic body is having the psychic waves, and spiritual body is having the spiritual waves. And what is the concept of Sthira? When the physical wave has been connected with the psychic wave, and psychic wave has been connected with the individual wave, then this is the complete state of meditation. It is called Sampragyat Samadhi. And how we can say in the psychological point of view? Physio, psychic, spiritual parallelism. Physical wave has to be intertwined with the psychic wave. It means physio-psychic parallelism. Then psychic wave has to be intertwined with the spiritual wave. Then psycho-spiritual parallelism. And the complete state of the yogi, that is called in Sanskrit Sampragyat Samadhi, when your physical wave has been connected with the psychic wave and psychic wave has been connected with the spiritual wave, then physio-psychic spiritual parallelism can be known. And this is the rasa. This is the state of happiness. This is the state of, we can say, sustainable pleasure. And rasa itself is named as Ananda. Raso Vaisa. And what is rasa? Means Ananda. Ananda means infinite happiness. Infinite happiness can be known as Ananda. So this is one definition of rasa. And in this introversive movement, we have two kinds of movement. One is called extroversive movement and another is the introversive movement. Extroversive movement means from subtle to gross, from inner world to outer world. When we are having the extroversive movement, that is called centrifugal force. When centrifugal force is dominating to the centrifugal force, then this materialistic world has been manifested. This is called, means our from the consciousness to the external world. This is one kind of movement. Movement of our waves only. And another movement is called introversive movement. This is extroversive movement. It's called centrifugal force. Another force is centripetal force. Centripetal force is introversive movement. When from the grossness, your waves are confining to your consciousness, your wave movement of the waves is from the outer world to inner world. This is the inner journey. For that, centripetal force is required. Introversive movement is required. When your waves are having the introversive movement or centripetal force is dominating to the centrifugal force, then you will be in the state of samadhi. You will realize the spiritual bliss, real bliss. So, rasa can be known in two types. One is centrifugal force and another is centripetal force. And Pandit Raj Jagannath
Sir, please continue.
Yeah.
Students will keep coming.
They are the students. I thought maybe guest faculty also.
We have many mature.
Oh, great. So it would be my great pleasure also. The University of Allahabad, so many matured people are there, and Dakshinamurti Stotra, Adi Shankaracharya composed. He says that Aho Bat Tador Mule, Vriddha Shishya Guru Yuva. Shishyas are the Vriddha, and Guru is Adi Shankaracharya. He was the young fellow. Then, means Vyakhyan is going on MOOC. Guru Maunam Vyakhyanam. He is transmitting through the spiritual practices. He made a aura so that who are coming in that circumstances, everybody is getting the knowledge. Means they are transforming themselves. So Guru Maunam Vyakhyanam. Shishya Chinna Sansaya. And all the sansayas, doubts, impurities, ignorance are removing. So this is our tradition, sir. Vriddha Shishya Guru Iva. So this is mentioned by the Adi Shankaracharya, Dakshinamurti Stotram. So one definition of rasa is Ratyadhyavachinna Bhagna Varna Chideva Rasa. Chid means your consciousness can be known as rasa. Your self can be known as rasa. But which kind of self? Ratyadhyavachinna. That consciousness has to be qualified by the rati and etc. permanent feelings. When the rasa, when the chid is qualified by the ratyadi, these are asthai bhav, rati and like that harsh and other things are there. So 8 feelings are there. Somebody are saying that no feelings, 9 feelings are there. Permanent asthai bhavas are there. Ratyadya avachinna bhagna varna chideva rasa. Your consciousness itself can be known as rasa. Once the consciousness is qualified by ratyadi. This is one definition. And in this definition, which kind of movement of the body is there? That is called introversive movement, centripetal force. And another, on the basis of that, we can say in the psychological point of view, what is the rasa? Rasa is physio-psychic, spiritual aesthetic experience. Physio-psychic, spiritual aesthetic experience can be known as rasa. And the definition of rasa has been given by the Pandit Raja Jagannatha in Rasa Gangadhara, and he is claiming that this is the view of Acharya Abhinav Gupta, Mammat, and so on. He is representing Acharya Abhinav Gupta's view in terms of rasa. He is saying that Bhagna Varna Chid Visishta Ratyabhireva rasa. Ratyabhi rasa. These permanent feelings, rati itself is manifesting in the form of rasa. Rati are these are so Abhibhava rasa, Abhibhava itire Vichari tatha Pandamiti Kechi, Trisya Chavatari Saharasa, Vibhavari Traya Samhita Rasha. So these are the rasa theories. And then rasa siddhanta bhuktivada and abhyaktivada. And this one is the relationship, to see the relationship of the rasa, cause and effect relationship. 2 more theories, that is Anirvachaniyatavada and then Navya Siddhanta is Bhavavada. Process of aesthetic experience. What is the process of aesthetic experience? Rasanubhute prakriya. So we have to acquire the knowledge. Now the question is, what is the object of knowledge? So object of knowledge is kavya. So kavya is the object of knowledge, and through the vritti, abhidha vritti, lakshana vritti, and vyanjana vritti, we are getting the knowledge of the poetry. So knowledge of the poetry is the subject, and knowledge we can say this is the visai, and this is we are getting through the vritti, abhidha vritti, lakshana vritti, and vyanjana vritti. Then once we got the knowledge of the kavya, then desire will be originated automatically. It is the nature of each and every human being. Once you got the knowledge, so I came without taking, but sir has told me, I told yes sir, why not? Since if I have knowledge, so that desire will be originated automatically. This is the nature of that each and every. So knowledge originated desire automatically. Then desire will create mental effort. Okay, I have to go to deliver the lecture on rasa theory. So some structure I have framed in my mind. That is called mental effort. It is called volition, kriti, volition, V-O-L-I-T-I-O-N, like that English is there, mental effort. Then mental effort will create the physical effort. Sir called, we are waiting in the Narayani Kaksha. Without taking breakfast or very hurry up and something I took, and then I boarded the car and came back here. This is physical effort. So mental effort will create the physical effort. Then the combination of mental effort and physical effort is called bhavana. Bhavana means psychological process. It is called willpower. In Sanskrit it is called kriya siddhi sattve bhavati. If you are having the willpower, so each and whatever you have made your goal, that goal can be fulfilled through your willpower. So this is called bhavana in Sanskrit. Bhavana. It is the psychological process, and through that, aesthetic meaning of the poetry can be known. Aesthetic meaning of the poetry is the output of your mental effort and physical effort. And once you got this effort, so this mental and physical effort is the cause. Both are not the two. It is the cause of the aesthetic experience. रसानुभूति. ये हिंदी बता देता हूँ अब बच्चों को. हो सकता है मेरी अंग्रेजी बड़ी टूटी फूटी है, ना समझ पाए. पहले हमें काव्य पढ़ना है. काव्य से हमें अभिधा लक्षण और व्यंजना से जो है हमें उस काव्य का ज्ञान होगा. जब ज्ञान हो गया तो इच्छा उत्पन्न हो जाएगी ऑटोमेटिकली. यदि विषय का ज्ञान हो तब विषय इच्छा सिद्धांत है. इच्छा ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाएगी. फिर क्या करोगे? जैसा ज्ञान होगा वैसे ही आपके अंदर एक मेंटल एटीट्यूड डेवलप होगा. इसको हम कहते हैं मेंटल एफर्ट. जैसा मेंटल एटीट्यूड डेवलप हुआ उसी तरह से आप फिजिकल एफर्ट करोगे. वो भी एफर्ट ही है लेकिन मेंटल है, तो उसको कहते हैं चेष्टा. और जब चेष्टा तक हो गया, इसी मेंटल एफर्ट और फिजिकल एफर्ट को ही हम भावना कहते हैं. शास्त्र में, काव्य शास्त्र में भावना भी एक प्रकार का जो है ज्ञान है. इसको हम धारावाहिक ज्ञान कहते हैं. अब जब भावना हो गया तो उसी काव्य का रमणीय अर्थ आपका ज्ञान हो गया. रमणीय अर्थ क्या है? उस भावना का आउटपुट है, रिजल्ट है. और जब इसी भावना से माने मेंटल एफर्ट और फिजिकल एफर्ट से आपको रसानुभूति होगी. तो व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ एस्थेटिक एक्सपीरियंस? द कॉज ऑफ एस्थेटिक एक्सपीरियंस इज द भावना. इसी को भावकत्व व्यापार जो है भट्टनायक ने भुक्ति वाला. सो दिस इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ गेनिंग एस्थेटिक एक्सपीरियंस. हाउ we can gain the aesthetic experience through the knowledge of the poetry. So this is Vishesh, and I will not discuss this one because this is originally in Sanskrit due to the crunch of time. So now I would like to stop here itself because so many other things are there, but I don't want to.
For question answer session.
Yeah.
Students are many query.
Yeah.
And we are also students of SRP.
Yes.
This is the right time to.
Yeah, why not?
Query.
I would love. Please go ahead.
सर
Yeah.
सर मेरा मानसिक रूप से रिलेटेड है. जब हम राग शास्त्र की बात करते हैं, रस शास्त्र की बात करते हैं या ध्वनि शास्त्र की बात करते हैं, तो ज्यादातर ये मानसिकता से जुड़ी होती है, हमारे मेंटल हेल्थ से जुड़ी होती है. तो हमें आज के समय में क्या, पहले का तो पता नहीं कि मेंटल हेल्थ की बात होती थी कि नहीं होती थी. पहले ज्यादातर देखा जाता है वुमेन्स के साथ ही मेंटली इश्यूज होते थे. मतलब क्या होते हैं, उनको प्रेशराइज किया जाता था बाकी चीजों पे. इसी हिसाब से हम मानते हैं कि वुमेन ज्यादा हमसे, मैन से ज्यादा मेंटली स्ट्रांग है. आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में देखा जाए तो मैन का मेंटल हेल्थ के लेकर बहुत सारे इश्यूज चलते हैं, बहुत सारे केसेस आ रहे हैं. तो हम रस शास्त्र हो या राग शास्त्र या ध्वनि शास्त्र, उसके माध्यम से हम कैसे मेंटल हेल्थ को या मानसिक रोग के ऊपर काम कर सकते हैं?
बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न है. इसको हम शास्त्रीय ढंग से इसका इलान आपको बताते हैं. ऋग्वेद है, आप लोग जानते हैं कि ऋग्वेद पूरे दुनिया का जो है सबसे पहला और सबसे बड़ा, इट इज द मोस्ट एंशिएंट लिटरेचर एंड मोस्ट वास्ट लिटरेचर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. इतना आप लोग समझ रहे हैं. ऋग्वेद का जो ऋषि है वो सिर्फ परम पिता परमात्मा से एक ही प्रार्थना करता है. क्या कहता है? हे ईश्वर, धियो योना प्रचोदया तन्मे मना शिव संकल्पमस्तु. हमारी साइकिक बॉडी तू ठीक कर दो, उसको हमारे हाथ में नहीं है. साइकिक बॉडी का मतलब वही साइकोलॉजी, मन, बुद्धि, चित्त और अहंकार. इसी के सिस्टम को आप ठीक कर दो, बाकी तो हम सब कुछ ठीक कर देंगे. पूरा का पूरा ऋग्वेद में जो प्रार्थना है ईश्वर से, यही कहते हैं कि हमारी बुद्धि, इसको कहो तो बुद्धि, कि हे ईश्वर आप अपनी अनुकंपा मेरी बुद्धि पर बनाए रखो, बाकी हम सब कुछ सही कर लेंगे. दुनिया का जितना बड़ा जो क्राइम, दुनिया का जितना बड़ा एक्सीडेंट, हल्की सी बुद्धि का भ्रम हो जाता है, बड़े से बड़े गलत काम हो जाते हैं. इसलिए जो है संस्कृत में यही कहा गया, जितना भी रस इसी में करता हूं, जो इंडियन एस्थेटिक्स है ये हमारा इंडियन साइकोलॉजी है. और कैसा साइकोलॉजी है? थियरी एंड प्रैक्टिस बोथ. इंडियन साइकोलॉजी भी दो प्रकार का है, एक थ्योरेटिकल फॉर्म में है, एक अप्लाइड फॉर्म में है. पूरा का साइकिक बॉडी से जुड़ा हुआ है। और इसलिए जो है जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अगर आप लोग साइको इंडियन मतलब कोई भी शास्त्र पढ़ते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से आपको जो अंदर से विल पावर मिलेगा ना, जो है बहुत सारी जो साइकिक डिजीज है वो स्वतः चली जाएंगी। ये टेस्टेड है, ऋषियों ने टेस्ट किया है और ऋषियों ने पूरे शास्त्र में बता दिया, चाहे पौरुषेय हो, चाहे पौरुषेय हो, चाहे वो दर्शन हो, चाहे वो काव्य हो, वो यही बताते हैं कि भैया ये बुद्धि है क्या, ये मन क्या है, ये चित्त क्या है, अहंकार क्या है, आत्मा क्या है, परमात्मा क्या है, सब कुछ जो है आपकी साइकोलॉजी से जुड़ा हुआ। इसीलिए मैंने आपको साइकोलॉजिकल फॉर्म में ही बता दिया कि व्हाट इज द रसा। रसा इज द फिजियो साइकिक स्पिरिचुअल एस्थेटिक एक्सपीरियंस। ये आपका जो है कैसा है, इस इंट्रोवर्सियल मूवमेंट, जब आप इनर जर्नी करते हो, आप अपने में समाहित हो जाते हो, अपने में खो जाते हो। अगर आप जो है आपका जो है चित्त बाहरी स्वरूप पर है, विषयों पर है, आप सुंदर चीजें देख रहे हैं, तब रसा क्या होगा आपके लिए। तो रसा क्या कहते हैं कि इस प्रिचियो साइकिक फिजिकल एस्थेटिक एक्सपीरियंस कैन बी नोन एज रसा। ये आपका एक्सट्रोवर्सियल मूवमेंट आपके साइकिक बॉडी का, वो साइकिक बॉडी उसमें प्रधान है। तो हमारा सबमिशन है, चाहे आप कोई भी शास्त्र संस्कृत का पढ़िए, गीता पढ़िए, काव्य शास्त्र पढ़िए, मैंने बताया कि रसा हैज परवेडेड एंटायर पर्पल डिस्कोर्स ऑफ संस्कृत। पौरुषेय शास्त्र काव्य, इट हैज परवेडेड। ये पूरा का पूरा जो है सिद्धांत जो है, ये रस जो है वो व्यापक है, व्याप्त करके रहता है। इसलिए रस जो है हर जगह है। उसके स्वरूप को जिस दिन आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा। कैसा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा? फिजिकल बॉडी स्पिरिचुअल बॉडी में तो कम, जो पहला जो इफेक्टिव ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा आपके साइकिक बॉडी में, आपके मन, बुद्धि, चित्त और अहंकार पर होगा। इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि संस्कृत जो है इट इज द टेक्स्ट ऑफ इंडियन साइकोलॉजी। इट हैज टू बी ट्रीटेड और इट हैज टू बी फर्दर रिसर्च इन द लाइट ऑफ साइकोलॉजी। क्योंकि हर जगह जो है आपका मन, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार हर जगह आपको मिल जाए जिस दिन आप अपने इनर वर्ल्ड के नेचर को जान जाएंगे। इसलिए कहा गया तैत्तिरीयोपनिषद में, अगर आत्मा को जान गए, मतलब अपने सेल्फ को जान गए, अपने अंतःकरण के विज्ञान को जान गए, फिर कुछ भी शेष नहीं रह जाता, सब कुछ। गुड।
Pranam sir, thank you for giving such profound lecture.
You are the student of Panjari Masya, I think.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
I have taught you in that.
Yes, yes.
Wow, great. Yeah, what was your name? Yeah.
And now he is pursuing PhD under Dr.
Great, great, great.
Thank you, sir. Listening to you always been like great history pleasure. So my query was like how in philosophical concept of Uchita, sorry, Satchidanand can be called the sublime of Rasa, or can it be called as the ultimate form of Rasa?
Good. Very nice question. He is saying that Rasa is the Ananda. And what is the Ananda? Ananda is the realization of ultimate reality. And what is the nature of that ultimate reality? Satchidananda. Satta, Chitta, and Ananda. Okay? So now this is the aesthetic experience. Whether aesthetic experience can be equivalent to Satchidananda. Some bifurcation is there. Yeah, some bifurcation is there. Vibhavadi Jivitavati. Abhinav Gupta says कि rasa will give you the ultimate pleasure or real bliss till the vibhavadi. But when the Shastra is giving you the knowledge of the realization of the ultimate pleasure, so once you got that the knowledge of ultimate pleasure, then you will not come back in this materialistic world. You will be always in the happiest mode. That is called Jivan Mukta. एक बार शास्त्र के ज्ञान से जो रसानंद प्राप्ति हो गई, फिर आपको जो है सारे दुख, सारा अज्ञान आपका शांत हो गया, सब रिमूव हो गया, आप जीवन मुक्त के कंडीशन में हो गए। लेकिन अगर एक बार काव्यज्ञान शाकुंतलम पढ़ करके जो रसानंद हो रहा है सच्चिदानंद का, वो तब तक होगा जब तक अभिज्ञान शाकुंतलम आपके पास है। जब तक मूवी देखोगे तब तक जो है तन्मयी भवन योग्यता, तब तक आप परमानंद में रहोगे। जब विभाव चला गया आप फिर इस भौतिक जगत में आ जाओगे। Getting my point? So this is the silver line demarcation between or bifurcation between Jivan Mukta means enjoyment of the Paramananda and the enjoyment of the this aesthetic poetry.
And you know the pleasure and happiness are different things, but each pleasure creates a barrier to experience aesthetic rasa that we are talking about.
With the pleasure,
Each pleasure creating a barrier to experience the aesthetic rasa, which is
both are complement each other. Why? Yeah, why divide? Pleasure, dukkha can be the barrier. Unhappiness can be barrier. Your stress, enjoyment, anxiety means, you can say the hypertension. These things can be the barrier. But pleasure can be known as a complement of getting the aesthetic experience. कहते हैं आपका मूड बड़ा अच्छा है, मूड से जो है क्या होगा, जब आप इसी को तन्मयी भवन योग्यता कहते हैं, इसी को सहृदय की क्वालिटी क्या है। अभिनव ने कहा ध्वनिया को क्वेश्चन में कि ऐसा काव्यानुशीलन अभ्यास प्रसाद विधि भूते मनोमुकुरे, माने जो व्यक्ति जो है माने काव्य का ज्ञान कर लिया, उसका प्रैक्टिस कर रहा है, वो जो है उसके अंदर एक ऐसा जो है तन्मय भवन माने मेडिटेटिव एटीट्यूड की योग्यता आ गई, वह व्यक्ति ही जो है काव्यानंद को प्राप्त कर सकता है, तन्मयी भवन योग्यता। और यही नहीं, स्वहृदय संवाद भाजा, जो अपने से ही बात करने में जिसके अंदर योग्यता हो जाए। अपने से मतलब क्या बात करते हो भाई, अपने का मतलब आपका एक कॉन्शियसनेस है और आपका अंतःकरण। जब अंतःकरण और कॉन्शियसनेस के साथ जब इंटरेक्शन हो, इसको कहते हैं साइको स्पिरिचुअल पैरेललिज्म, ये बेसिक क्वालिटी है। उसके बाद तब आपको रसानंद की अनुभूति होगी। तो सहृदय होना जरूरी है, वाक्यता आनी जरूरी है। ठीक?
when we discuss first primarily discuss about 8 rasas in our discussion, and later the 9th rasa was added with them. So does it function different from the original 8? Or
Yeah, actually, but on Natya Shastra, one commentary is there, Abhinav Bharati commentary written by Acharya Abhinav Gupta on Natya Shastra. So he says that, okay, Ashtav Natya Rasa is there. Ashtav Natya Rasa. But further, means the poeticians and acharyas, they have considered no 9 rasas. Then further, not more than 9. पंडित राज जगन्नाथ ने कह दिया कि बस फर्दर कैटेगरी मत करिएगा इसको। क्यों? कारण क्या है? अलंकार अनंत हो गए। कुछ लोग कहे कि नहीं, शब्दालंकार, अर्थालंकार या उभयालंकार। गुण जो है कुछ लोग कहे 10, कुछ लोग कहे 3, रीति कुछ लोग कहे 3। कहे कि इस तरह से इतना डिस्कोर्स हो जाएगा कि हमें आचार्यों की बात माननी पड़ेगी, वरना तो अनंत रस हो जाएंगे। इसीलिए उन्होंने कहा कि परंपरा का फॉलो करो। जो आचार्य अभिनव गुप्त ने कह दिया that only 9 rasas should be known or it has to be realized, that's all. Clear cut आचार्य अभिनव को पंडित राज जगन्नाथ दशरंगा जी ने कह दिया कि no further extension or further division is required in the terms of rasa division.
introduction.
From where? What is your native place? Actually, আমি বাংলা বুঝতে পারি, इसलिए सोचा सर बंगाली में कुछ होंगे।
You already talked about the Russia as a different discipline. So, can we also see Indian literature in Indian aspects like Russian theory in the context of Western literature, or what is the mix between both literature, or will it create a kind of subordinate Indian perspectives? What's your view?
Good, very nice. Actually, I have no authority on the Western literature, but as per my knowledge is concerned, Indian literature is spiritual centric. Indian aesthetics which is spiritual centric. But Western aesthetics may be treated as materialistic centric. So both can be the complement. I have given the 2 definitions of the rasa. So Indian aesthetics must incline to the introversive movement. Western aesthetics, extroversive. So both can be the complement. That's why I say Western mind and Indian heart, if they will meet together, can do the miracle. Okay? Why I have prepared my lecture in English? Because so many things. If you want to know the materialistic development, so you can't ignore the Western methodology. It has to be learned. It has to be taught. And if you want to transform yourself as a spiritual development, for that Indian way of thinking, Indian research methodology is also required. For the sustainable development of the society, for the holistic development of the society, both can be treated as a complement. Western mind and Indian heart. West is the East, West from the East and West. It has to be the logo or motto of the each and every academician. West, B-E-S-T. West from the East and West. जो भी अच्छा हो पूरब से लो और पश्चिम से लो. Then you see so many things we have. We can give to the rest of the world, and so many things we have to also learn from the rest of the world.
I have a small objection. अभी क्या नाम है? दिग्विजय ने जो प्रश्न पूछा
जी
कि why young students are these days suffering from mental crisis. There was something like this. I suggest you एक बुक फ्राइड ने भी जो लिखी है डिसकंटेंट एंड सिविलाइजेशन. उसमें वो यही बताते हैं कि जो सभ्यता है आज जो मनुष्य जो बनावटी जीवन जी रहा है, दिखावे का जीवन जी रहा है, और जिस चीज को हम मानते हैं कि ये मर्यादा है, नैतिकता है, कई बार हम अपनी इच्छा को मार के जीते. तो ये ध्यान रहे कि इच्छा को मारना नहीं चाहिए. इच्छा जब मरती है तो दमित इच्छा जो है it takes the form of nightmare, भयानक स्वप्न या madness, पागलपन, ये सारी चीजें होती हैं. तो हम we should try to live natural life. हमारा जीवन जितना सहज होगा, जितना प्रकृति के साथ होगा, बैलेंस होगा. इसका अर्थ ये भी नहीं है कि हम इतना खुल के जीने लगे कि समाज का जो ताना बाना है उसको जो हम खत्म कर दें. ये भी इसका अर्थ है. और दूसरी बात ये है कि अभी प्रोफेसर अनिल जी कह रहे, तो मैंने सर जितना मैंने समझा है संस्कृत पॉलिटिक्स का ये कम है समझ, लेकिन आप लोगों के साथ रहकर मैं भी उसके सार को समझ रहा हूँ खूब अच्छी तरह से. तो मुझे जो लगता है कि देयर इज नो डिफरेंस बेसिकली बिटवीन एस्थेटिक्स वेदर इट इज ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जब हम अरिस्टोटल को पॉलिटिक्स पढ़ते पढ़ाते हैं और आप इमेजिन कीजिए पॉलिटिक्स में व्हेन ही टॉक्स अबाउट कैथारसिस, उसमें बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल मैं क्लास में बच्चों को देता हूँ कि मेरा नाम जुकर फिल्म का जो लास्ट सीन कि राज कपूर की माँ खबर आती है कि माँ उसकी मर गई, वो रोना चाहता है कि सामने ऑडियंस बैठी है, टिकट बिक चुका है, उसको ऑडियंस को हंसाना है. तो यह जो सिचुएशन है, इस सिचुएशन में ऑडियंस को आप देखिए किस तरह से वो राज कपूर के साथ अपने को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. तो हमारे यहाँ मतलब कैथारसिस में दो बात है कि पीटी एंड फियर, दो जो भावना है इंसान में, ऑडियंस में. आप कल्पना करें कि कोई बहुत एक फिल्म मुझे ध्यान आती है तीसरी कसम, तो बिहार में वो जो फारबिसगंज वही बनी थी और उसमें वो सीन गजब का है. मैंने कई बार उस फिल्म को देखी, उपनिषद रेणु उपन्यास में बनी. पहले आजकल वो पीवीआर हो गया है, पहले तो हॉल में फिल्म बहुत देखते थे. तो बहिरा रहमान ट्रेन से जा रही है, उधर से वो राज कपूर आता है और वो मतलब 3 घंटा इस प्रतीक्षा में है कि मैं ये कह दूं कि आई लव यू, मुझे तुमसे प्यार हो गया, तो कह नहीं पा. और ट्रेन चल देती है और वो गाना आता है निपत्त से कि दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या तेरे मन में समाई है दुनिया बनी. और वो खिड़की से देख रही है, उसके आंखों से आंसू बह, आंसू तो हमारे भी बह रहे थे क्योंकि हम फिल्म देख रहे थे, लेकिन आंसू भी बह रहा और आनंद भी आ रहा, तालियां भी बजा. यह जो सिचुएशन है, दैट इज द सिचुएशन ऑफ एस्थेटिक्स. जो रस है, जो आनंद हो, वी आर टीचिंग रोलैंड बार्थ में पढ़ाते हैं सर, और रोलैंड बार्थ ने उसको कहा है कि जब आपको किसी भी रचना का, कविता, नाटक, नृत्य का जब अर्थ समझ में आने लगता है, तो आपको जो आनंद मिलता है ये उसी तरह का आनंद है जैसे कामसूत्र पढ़ने के बाद आता है, संभोग के बाद, सेक्सुअल एक्टिविटी के बाद जो आनंद है उसके लिए उसने ऑर्गेजमिक प्लेजर कहा है उसको। तो ये जो आनंद है, आनंद और रस, हम कोई भी काम करते हैं जब तक आपको आनंद नहीं आएगा। आजकल स्टडी में क्या है, आजकल के स्टूडेंट्स गूगल से, लैपटॉप से पढ़ते हैं। हमारे टाइम में जो पढ़ते थे वो हार्ड बुक से पढ़ते। आज भी इतनी चीजें याद है। पहले के प्रेमी प्रेमिका पत्र लिखते थे, खत लिखते थे, फूल से लिखते थे। आजकल वो व्हाट्सएप में चैट करो, आनंद नहीं आएगा। अगर आप आनंद लेना चाहते हैं तो आपको मूल में जाना होगा, यू हैव टू ओरिजिनल। और आप इस तरह का, तो मेरा मतलब मानना ये है कि आनंद जो है, अब सर कह रहे थे कि शब्द नहीं है उसके लिए, जो अभिव्यंजना है, आइए रिचर्ड्स को हमने पढ़ा है, डिनोटेटिव, कोनोटेटिव। इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में उसके आगे भी एक बात कही जाती है, सजेस्टिव। तो ये जो चीज है, तो लेट अस नॉट ट्राई टू डिस्प्यूट वेस्टर्न एंड ईस्टर्न, हम उसमें झगड़ा ना करें, बल्कि हम ये देखें, सर ने जो बात कही कि हाउ टू डिराइव द बेस्ट फ्रॉम बोथ, दोनों में जो बेस्ट है उसको हम ग्रहण करें। और ये रिसर्च का बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक हो सकता है, और ये सभी इस बात को वही समझेगा जो सहृदय। मुझे वर्ड्सवर्थ की एक लाइन याद आती है कि आई विल टेल माई लव ओनली लवर्स ईयर्स। मैं प्रेम की बात सिर्फ प्रेमिका के कान में कहना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि इस बात को अगर व्यापारी को कहते तो नहीं समझे। लेकिन सर, हमारा व्यापार भी एक रस का अभिनय और रस की प्रस्तुति है, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि विद्यार्थियों में इंटरेस्ट पैदा करें, एक टेस्ट पैदा करें। और इसमें मुझे उनके बड़े प्रसिद्ध शायर हैं